good? It's your boy Fuse, 808 Mafia, and I just jumped off the porch with Dirt Glove Bastard.
Yes, sir, yes, sir. We right back at it, y'all. We got the one and only Fuse from 808 Mafia jumping off the porch with us today. What's up, bro?
What's going on, my bro?
Man, coolin', bro, man. Great to have you here, man.
Likewise, man. Great to be here.
Yes, sir, yes, sir. So, man, let's get right into it, Fuse. Man, you from Bronx, right? You from New York?
Yeah, from New York.
That's what's up, bro. I mean, the birthplace of hip hop.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, we wouldn't even have this culture and, you know, all these things that we love and able to do, man, if it, you know, wasn't, you know, for the Bronx, man. So can you tell us, bro, like, what was it like growing up in the Bronx?
I mean, kind of self-explanatory, man. It's like so much culture out there, and just growing up around it, it was just like a beautiful thing, you know. I'm an 80s baby, so you already know back then, you know, I would say, like, even though I'm an 80s baby, I got more experience with the hip hop culture, like in the 90s. Mm-hmm. So like, even then, you know, it was just crazy. Like, the music that was coming out or the artists that was popping, like, it was just great. You know, being outside, just the whole New York life. You know, it just made me everything I am.
Word. And so, like, from an early age, were you like, did you kind of like jump right into the culture and everything? Like, with it being pretty much right in your backyard?
Yeah, absolutely. All my friends, you know, they were into it. I have an older sister. She'd be 10 years apart. So, you know, everything that she listened to, I listened to. Everything that she was influenced by, I was influenced by. And she was heavy into the you know, hip hop culture growing up and everything like that. So that's where I pretty much got my influence from. I would say, like, my close circle and my sister.
Word. Yeah, that's what's up, man. Now, see, I grew up in a similar way. I got a brother who's 8 years older than me. Mm-hmm. So, in a similar sense, you know, grew up in the 80s, but really came of age in the 90s, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So, having that older sibling, like, really, you know, helped me to, you know, get into cats like KRS-One and Big Daddy Kane, and, you know, even a lot of stuff that cats maybe my age, our age, might not have been as much on, but, you know, having that older sibling just, you know, I feel like gives you even that appreciation of the history, because you kind of come up almost like you're the same age as the older sibling, because you being introduced to all this.
Yeah, absolutely. I was advanced, you know, definitely, because like I say, even outside my circle, I hung out with dudes that was like in my age group, but there was like so many dudes that was outside my age group, you know, and I used to, you know, try to kick it with them, you know, that kid that always try to come around the older folks and they like, man, kid, get out of here, but that was me. And then, you know, I was just, from the way they dress to, you know, just the outside, you know, just being on the block, just chilling and just, you know, it was just everything that, you know, that came with it. Them, you know, having the big old speakers and, you know, the radios blasting music, and or they got the, you know, the car windows down and they blast the music out the car. Like, it was just fun just being on the block, like just New York culture shit.
Word, that's what's up, man. So what kind of kid was you coming up, bro? Like, what was you into?
Shit, I was really into, like, you know, like hanging out. Like, I just wanted to be outside. Like, my parents, they were cool and all, like, you know what I'm saying, like middle class parents and everything like that, but they knew how crazy outside was, you know what I mean? They just wanted to shelter me so bad. I was just one of them kids, like, you just could not hold me. Like, from then, like, I had a strong mind of my own. Like my parents, they knew that, you know what I mean? I just always wanted to be outside, always wanted to get into things. So, you know, I would say, like, I was into the music, but I wasn't trying to do music, you know what I mean? It was just all about listening to music, being a fan of music, and you know, skateboarding, riding bikes, you know, playing sports in the streets, you know, typical stuff like that.
Word. And what would you say, like, you actually, like, dabbled into music for the first time, and what side of it, you know, did you first start messing with it?
Right. When I first got into music, like I said, I was a fan of it just from the aspect of, like, just the sound, the sonics. So I, like, even the stuff my parents would listen to, I would be, like, influenced by, and I'd be, like, you know, intrigued by, like, ooh, I like the music. So I would say I was always intrigued by the instrumentals of a song, the beat and everything like that. But when it came to, like, rap, I mean, it was just so many dope rappers, you know. I think everybody, if you was from New York, you probably wanted to rap. You playing basketball, you rapping. It's one of the two, you know what I mean? So I just wanted to rap. But it wasn't even like something I was just trying to take serious. It was just freestyling, you know, stuff you do with the boys and stuff like that. But I don't think like I really wanted to take music serious until like my later years in life. Yeah.
Word. And you mentioned hooping, like I know, like New York is, you know, like known for, you know, the street ball culture, the rucker, you know what I'm saying, going up to Washington Heights and, you know what I'm saying, to those parks and all that, and just all through the city. Was that stuff that you was like also like seeing, and even some of these like kind of famous or popular, you know what I'm saying, like street ball players and stuff like that? Was you kind of, you know, seeing that?
Oh yeah, I mean, I would say like in the Bronx, I grew up watching it. I mean, I played it a little bit, but I grew up watching it. By the time I moved to like, my parents had moved to like Long Island, and it was like an area called Roosevelt. And by the time I got to Roosevelt, I would say like, that's when I was like, yo, I want to play ball. You know what I mean? And I was like really into street ball, heavy into street ball. I knew a lot of people that played in the Rucker. I too played for Tommy Hilfiger. I think it was like 03.
Right.
I played, you know, basketball for notable coaches like Mousy,
Okay.
you know what I mean, stuff like that. So yeah, I had a good upbringing when it came to basketball.
Word. So we had Cormega on the porch, and he penned the phrase, you know, jumped off the stoop. You know what I'm saying? You know, based off jumping off the porch. So man, when would you say, man, when did you jump off the porch? When did you jump off the stoop?
Man, I jumped off the stoop real young. I was around like at 10. That's when I was just like, it was real crazy for me.
Yeah.
Like, I just wanted to get into everything. It was like, I don't even want to label myself like a bad kid, you know what I'm saying? Like, I got in trouble a lot. It was like, I guess, you know, knuckleheaded. I think like most young boys, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like just trying to figure stuff out.
Yeah.
But I think at a very young age, I just didn't want to conform to the norm. Like, I just didn't want to do, you know, what everybody said you had to do. You know what I mean? I was like real bad with authority.
Right.
So I would say from a young age, you know what I mean? Like 10 years old, I was like outside.
Okay, word. And then I know you mentioned earlier, like having an older sister and, you know, like wanting to hang out with like the older kids in the neighborhood and things like that. Did you have any OGs coming up and like cats that you was able to like really look up to and like get that game from and kind of, you know, tell you like how to move and, you know what I mean, stay out the way shorty when, you know what I mean, something going on or whatever?
I didn't have no OGs in the sense like, you know, growing up and people telling me like what to do and what not to do. But what I will say is I'm very observant. So I just, like I said, me watching the older guys on the block, I just watch how they move. So pretty much whatever they did, it was just like, all right, if they doing it, it must be the cool thing to do. You know what I mean? That's just how I put the puzzle together. So I know they got fresh, so I just always wanted to get fresh. I know they had the ladies around them, so from young, I just wanted to have ladies around me. You know what I mean? I know they always kept a tight crew with them. I just wanted to have a tight crew and just stick with my crew. So it was just me being influenced by the older guys.
Okay, I could dig it. And then music-wise, like who were you influenced by when you were coming up? Like who were some of your favorite artists that you were looking into?
I would say off rip, my first artist that I was intrigued by was Redman.
Okay.
And I remember like, yeah, he had an album, his first album, I think it really was, I think it was called What the Album or something like that.
Yeah, What the Album.
And I think it has a song on there called How to Roll a Blunt.
Yeah, for
right?
sure,
Yeah, so my mom didn't let me hear that album. My sister bought me that album and my mother was like, let me see that real quick. And she was like reading the track list. And when she saw that How to Roll a Blunt, she was like, nah, take that back. So I really had to go out and like buy my own music. So when I actually was able to purchase my own music, I think the first thing I purchased was Protect Your Neck, Wu-Tang.
Oh man, okay, yeah, that was a classic.
Yeah, I was just like, shit, take my little coins and buy that. So,
yeah. Man, talking about Redman, like I'm such a fan of his, and I remember the Muddy Waters album, and like I remember first hearing like Superman Lover, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, all that stuff. Like Redman was so dope, lyrical, but then like comedic with it too. You know what I'm saying? And like I know, like I used to listen to like my mama Richard Pryor records, and you know, said all that. So then when you hear somebody like Redman, that like just take you right there, where he being raunchy,
the comedy element. Yeah, absolutely.
Nah, most definitely.
And he was good with picking beats. Eric Sermon used to make his beats.
Yeah, man. And Eric Sermon's ridiculous with the beats.
I used to love the beats.
Yeah.
Like I said, like growing up, it was just, I guess it's inevitable that I make beats now, but it was just like back then, there's a lot of songs that I like, but if I really sit back and be like, why do I like this song? It's really because of the beat.
Because of the beat.
Yeah, so a lot of the stuff that I grew up on that I like was because of the beat.
Word. And so when was the first time that you decided to actually dabble in the music?
So when I got to, I would say, Roosevelt, one of my partners, still my partner to this day, my boy E, he had a studio in his basement of his crib that, from the story that he told me, he said he had a cousin that passed away and his parents had built the studio for the cousin to pursue his music career, but he passed away, so the studio was left there. And then because the studio was left there, you know, nobody there did music, they rented it out to some other folks. So when I used to kick it with E, he used to be like, yo, you know, there's a studio downstairs. So I used to just go downstairs in his crib and kick it with the people that was renting the studio.
Yeah.
And that's how I got my studio experience, you know, being in there. And I wouldn't even say I was an intern, but they treated me like one. You know what I mean? Like, yo, go to the store, yo, go do this, yo. You know, just teaching me little things around the studio. But I would think like that's what made me be like, I want to do this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so.
Word. And then from that, like, did you like jump right into producing and like just start making beats, or what was it?
Nah, I was still rapping. Still just wanted to rap. I was around like a lot of talented rappers, especially growing up. Like one of my partners named Zay. He's one of my partners still to this day. Dope ass engineer too. And that nigga basically, he used to just be so fire. You know, he was like, and I saw like all the attention he was getting from like, you know, being such a dope MC.
Yeah.
It just influenced me to just be a dope MC. I used to be in a rap group.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
So I just wanted to just be solo, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just, you know what I mean? Just flourish into my own.
Yeah.
And then, but the production side is that studio, it was rented out by 3 producers. So they had a production company called Head Spinners. And through that production company, by me sitting around them, watching them create, that's what made me want to make, you know what I mean? So it was just, you know, 3 different personalities, 3 different styles, 3, you know, they were making beats at 3 different times of the day. Like, I'm just sitting there just being a sponge, you know what I mean? But then it was hardware, you know what I mean? So it wasn't easy to just be like, hey, I'm gonna go to the store and buy a keyboard, go buy an MP.
Right.
So it was just me just being a sponge for a lot of years.
Yeah, no, I can dig it. And so, like, did you actually release music as a rapper, and like, were you on it on that tip?
No, I think I released maybe like 1 mixtape on that Piff like a long time ago.
Word.
You know what I mean? But
We might have to find that and post it on the Throwback Thursday.
oh man, don't assassinate me like that. Nah, my shit was actually fire.
Word.
But I would really say like, I wanted to put out music on a big scale. Like that was the goal, you know, but it just wasn't moving fast enough. And then before I know it, I just fell in love with production. So I kind of put rap to the back burner.
Okay. So when you hear a lot of producer stories, man, like a lot of times it's they got into producing because they were rapping and then didn't have somebody to make their beats. So then they started making beats. Was that sort of your situation, or?
Nah, it's not that I needed people to make beats, because I was surrounded by so many producers.
Right.
Like a lot of my friends were producers.
Okay.
I think it was just learning the art. It was just, you know, day in, day out. I remember I used to go to school when I was going to Globe Tech in Manhattan. I used to just travel back and forth on that train, just listening to music, dissecting the beat, just trying to dissect the beats.
Yeah.
Like, damn, this beat is crazy. Like, all right, so that's how they did the snare. All right, so that's how they did the kick. It was just a lot of dissecting going on. So it was just to the point where it was just like, yo, I want to do this.
Word.
You know what I mean? At least I want to try. You know what I mean? And I got good at it. And then I didn't feel solidified to even call myself a beat maker or a producer unless somebody rapped to my shit. And now, yes, I could rap to my own, but I wanted somebody else.
Right.
So I was just really out there just trying to find, you know, local rappers that either I was cool with or that I thought was dope, or, you know, going to different open mics and just letting them know, yeah, I produce.
Okay.
You know, so just really just getting my face out there.
And do you remember the first placement that you got, like in that, you know, era of time?
The first placement I got was kind of dope. It was with M.O.P. It never came out, but I'm gonna tell you what was so dope about it. I was in my boy's basement.
First?
My first placement, yes.
M.O.P.
So it was kind of crazy, yeah.
Wow.
Honestly, it was 2 different ways. So this is the first placement I would say, a legit placement. So like I said, my boy Zay, he was a producer too, and he made beats all the time. So like I said, he used to put me on to making beats. So there was a point in time I used to just, you know, he'd be running sessions as an engineer, and I'll just be in the room. And I'll just be like, yo, let me use your laptop, or, you know, your drum pads, and I'll just go in the corner, you know, headphones, and just mess around. He showed me how to program. So I will say this one particular session, I forgot the name of the group. Man, I can't forget myself for forgetting that. That's crazy. But it was a group. It was 2 dudes. They was from this town called Freeport, and I had the beat, that I was creating on blast. Like it was just bleeding through the headphones. Mm-hmm. So I guess there was a point where there was like dead silence in the main studio, and you could just hear it was coming from my headphones. He slid a little closer to me and just tapped me on my shoulder and was like, "Yo, you making that right now?" And I was just like, "Yeah." And he was just like, "Yo, how much you charge?" You know what I mean? I'm like, shit, I don't know, like $50? Like dead ass, it was like $50. I was just happy knowing that, damn, I could do this and make $50.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, damn, imagine if I could get like $10, $50 in a week, you know what I mean? Like, just thinking crazy. Hey, but I just—
You gotta start somewhere.
Yeah, you gotta start somewhere. So I was just, strategically trying to think of how to do that. So that was like that's where the marketing and the business side kicked in, because it was like a transaction. So that was my first placement. Now, if you wanna say with a notable person, it would be with M.O.P. I was in my boy's basement and Lil Fame came through, and I was messing around with the MPC, and he was just showing me so many things on that MPC. Like I didn't even know he made beats, honestly. Yeah. So Lil Fame was like showing me all this stuff, and then I'm sitting there as a young kid, just like, wow, like M.O.P. like this is crazy. So and then he ended up recording to the beat. Yeah. So I wish it came out. I think he had I forgot this chick name, Lady Luck.
Oh yeah,
I think she came through the studio and she did a feature on that actual song too. It was so long ago, man.
That's hard though, and I mean, who can say that they was getting producer chops from Fizzy Wo? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I felt like I was walking my path right there.
Come on, that's crazy.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So back then, when you first started, what were you making beats on? What were the first types of machines or whatever that you was making?
So like I said, I was around older guys that was making beats, so I just looked at whatever they were using and thought that's what you had to use. So they're using MPCs, they're using Tritons, they're using SPs, and I'm just like, all of it looks like rocket science to me, you know what I mean? And I'm just like, I want to do it still. Yeah. But I think by the time everything integrated into software, laptop savvy stuff, then it was just like, all right, this seems a little bit more easier, and I would definitely say less stressful to obtain a laptop than it is to obtain a whole bunch of hardware. Yeah, my boy Zay, I think he actually gave me my first laptop. Okay. And it already had.
Shout out to Zay.
Yeah, Zay, man, it's my dog. Yeah. But he definitely gave me my first laptop, and I think it had Reason on it. Right. So I would say that was the first program software that I was really just locked in every day. Okay. Reason.
Okay, word. And so what became kind of your go-to or your favorite thing to use? You know what I mean?
It was a Reason for a long time. Okay. I didn't switch to FL until I started being around Southside, and he used to always be for one, Southside hates Macs.
That's interesting. That's
yeah,
funny.
He hates Apple computer. I don't even want to know. I think I could be exaggerating if I say hate, but when you open up your laptop and he sees the Apple logo, it's just, he's gonna talk shit. Yeah. But by me using the Mac, I didn't know FL could go on the Mac at the time, so I was just using FL compatible. Mac compatible. Okay. DAWs like Logic and Reason and MPC. I even used a Machine. Okay. I was, at one point I was sponsored by Native Instruments. Okay. And I used all that stuff, and then like I said, by the time I was around Southside and started being around 808 Mafia on a daily basis, it was I gotta switch over.
Yeah. So. Word. And so speaking of Southside, 808 Mafia, the fam, how did you get connected, with those guys?
So, all right, so remember I told you I was in a rap group back in the days. So one of the dudes I was in a rap group with, he had moved to Atlanta way before, all of us. And he was already out in Atlanta just moving around. And then one time he had called me, he was just like, yo, I'm cool with Waka. Waka be coming to my CD shop. He had opened up one of, a CD shop in a little discount mall. Yeah. And so by him knowing Waka and having that relationship, then being around Southside and the rest of the BrickSquad, it was just he knew I was into making beats at that time. So he was just like, yo, send me some beats. But I'm thinking I'm sending beats for him. Right. So I'm sending him because he was in the rap group that was signed to Deborah, Waka's mom. Mm-hmm. So they were under Ms. A. And they used to always, Trey Pounds was actually part of his group by the time he was part of Ms. A, called Fetty Gang. And I used to just send them beats, but then Waka, from what he would tell me, he'd be like, yo, Waka recorded to your beat. And I'd be like, oh shit, how? Then he'd be like, yo, I fell asleep. He just went in my email, took the beat, you know what I mean? Shit like that. So I'm just like, all right, that's dope. But I wasn't hearing the song, so I wasn't getting too excited. So I would think I was one day, I was in the studio that I was engineering at in New York. And then I got a call, and it was my boy. And he was just like, yo, I got Southside with me right now. He want to talk to you. And then, I was like, let me put him on speaker. Yeah. Everybody in the room need to hear this, you know what I mean? Like, so I put him on speaker, and then he was just like, hey, you fire. And he just kept it real short and sweet, like, yo, you fire. I want you in Atlanta. I want you part of 808 Mafia. Short and sweet. And I was just like, all right, cool. Yeah. Which was kind of ironic. And I'm gonna tell you why, because at the studio I used to work at, there was like a couple other producers that used to come through, and they used to watch like videos of like Lex Luger and 808 Mafia and just, you know what I mean, videos of Southside. I was not even 808 Mafia per se, but just Lex Luger and Southside. And I used to, by me seeing like them on the laptop a lot, it was just so ironic that they was in the room. Yeah. When he called, it was just like, you know, like, damn, Southside on your phone right now. So it was like real inspiring for them. Yeah. You know what I mean? So.
No, for sure. And I know that had to come as a surprise too, because, you know, you in New York and you doing your thing, and then, you know, to get a call from, you know, these prominent Atlanta producers that, you know, have, you know, been cultivating this certain sound, and then they call you and say, hey, we respect your sound. I know that had to come as a surprise and was, you know, just respect, you know?
Man, it was a super surprise. I just felt like it was just one of them things I was just meant to be. Right. You know what I mean? You know, it was just like, you just follow the signs. Yeah. So that's all it really was. And it was even more crazy to me because I used to DJ in a strip club, like for a little, like short period of my time, for like a year. Okay. And I remember I used to—
In New York or here?
In New York. It was a club called Seductions, I believe.
Okay.
It was in Long Island. And but when I used to DJ there, I remember like I'd be DJing, I'll just be DJing the stuff that I want to hear. Like I'd be up there playing J. Cole, strippers are looking at me like, bruh, how am I gonna dance to this? So I just be like, oh man. So I remember they used to always come to my booth and they used to always be like, yo, you ain't got no Waka, you ain't got no Gucci. And I'd be like, coming from New York, I really wasn't familiar with their music. Yeah. So it was just like, no, I don't got no Waka, I don't got no Gucci. So I remember I told one of my other partners, yo, download everything that's Waka, download everything that's Gucci. I don't care what song, just download it. Yeah. He gave me, and this is like CDs, so he's giving me CDs like, oh, Waka, Gucci, another Waka, another Gucci. So I'm just in the strip club just playing stuff. Just playing stuff. I don't even know these songs. But it was crazy because by me playing it day in and day out, like, you know, just in the club or preparing to go to the club or trying to make a little playlist, I really started loving the music and learning the music. And it was just like, nah, this is fire. I like this. So it was just so crazy to me for me to end up in Atlanta and then be in the circle with Waka and Gucci. It was just like, what the hell?
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. And so like, before you even met them, like, would you ever like even get like comparisons to them or like any, you know what I mean? Like people who was like, let's say like you playing your beats like for cats that's in New York, like in these studios, like were people ever telling you like, man, you know what, bro, like your drums hit like these guys, or like was there ever anything like that? Okay.
None of that. I had my own style, still have my own style, but that's what made Southside fuck with me. Right. Honestly, because my style was different from everything else that he was around. Yeah. And he told me this, you know what I mean? He's just like, yo, even when I came to Atlanta, it was like, I remember when I first got to Atlanta now, you know, just trying to be a producer and place beats wasn't the easiest task, just coming from New York and not knowing nobody, you know? But I just learned that being in certain rooms, certain sessions, and I do play my beats, the rappers would like my beats, but I had to learn a little bit, like, I had to like, Atlanta got a sound, like they have a sound, you feel what I'm saying? So I felt like I had to incorporate that into my sound a little bit. You know what I mean? I just couldn't just give people my sound, because not saying like they couldn't mess with it, like people were, clearly, like I said, Waka was recording songs on stuff that I was making in New York, a lot of and Wu, you know, his brother Wu the Kid, so it's not like they wasn't messing with that. It was just like, for me, I felt like for me to grow and work with other artists I wanted to work with that was based in Atlanta, I had to incorporate some of that Atlanta sound.
Word.
So I think that's pretty much like the only time a person will compare my sound to anybody else's, but
Gotcha.
I always have my own lane.
Word, yeah, no, for sure. Cause like I was listening to like one of the Future songs you produced. I think it was Baptized or one of them, but like it like kind of had like a boom bap sound to it. And then I was like, okay, like this definitely is a little different from, you know what I'm saying, what it would normally.
That's one thing that people always pointed out. Like they could always hear the up north. That's what they'll say.
Right.
Like, you from up north, ain't you? You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
they'll be like, I can hear it. You know what I mean? But I don't hear it because it's just in. My ears used to hearing my sound.
Yeah.
So to other people, it's almost like having an accent. You don't know you have an accent. To somebody, it's like, hey, you picked up an accent.
Right,
so
right.
That's all it really is. It's like, but it's still cool.
Word, no, I can dig it. So then like you talked to Southside, y'all building. Like how long after that, like did you get your first placement like with those guys?
Well, like I said, I already had songs that Waka recorded.
Okay.
When I was in New York.
That's right, because you said he was falling asleep.
You're right. My boy was falling asleep, right.
Right.
So, but the crazy thing about it is my first day in Atlanta, Southside, I was with Southside and Fetty Gang.
Okay.
And we was just all chilling. They was like, yo, we got a session tonight. So, my first day, I'm trying to just get a feel of everything. So they was like, yo, we going to Patchwork. So I knew about Patchwork. I heard about Patchwork. You know what I mean? So I'm like, ooh, legendary studio.
Right.
So my first day, I go to Patchwork. We in the B room, and I walk in there, and Guwap was in there, and I'm like, oh shit, this is crazy. Gucci Mane, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But this is what makes it even crazier. He not only is Gucci Mane in the studio, he's recording to my beat. My first day. But he don't know me. He don't know this is my beat.
Right.
He don't know none of that.
Right.
He just in there recording. He goes in the booth. He one takes the whole shit like crazy. That's when I realized like he could rap.
Yeah.
Not like just, none of that bullshit. Like he
Right.
could rap.
Yeah.
That guy could rap. You know what I mean? I was a believer. And I was just like, damn, he killed that shit. And I remember I tapped Waka on his leg, and I'm like, yo, I made that beat. And he was just like, oh, word? He was like, that's crazy. Then he told Guwap, like, yo, Fuse made that beat. And Guwap just gave me like this head nod. I was just like, oh shit, that's crazy. Like, so that was like the first time me actually like,
that's a surreal moment.
it was just too crazy for me. Like I said, like the only thing that plays back in my mind at that moment, still to this day, is like being in that strip club and them strippers saying, you ain't got no Waka, you ain't got no Gucci. I was like, oh shit.
Word. So I want to like back up just a little bit too, because I think that, for the people watching, like this is so inspirational. And I want you to kind of talk about like when you made that decision to actually go to Atlanta from when you connected with Southside and, all of that. Because I know that you still like had to take a leap of faith coming down here, taking a chance on yourself, knowing that something good was going to come out of that.
Yeah. So, like I tell everybody, like anytime I, do sightings and I pop ups and talking to, upcoming producers, I tell them all, you have to believe in yourself before anybody else. Regardless of what nobody else say, you have to. It's like the leap of faith, that's a real thing. You know what I'm saying? Because me doing music wasn't always like something that was like highlighted in my life in the sense like my mother she wasn't a fan of the fact I was in the studio and not going to school or not pursuing a 9-to-5. My father, not saying like he didn't like it, he understood music, he played instruments, but he didn't feel like, I guess he never saw somebody just be like, no, this is what I want to do. And for me to be his son is like watching your child take a gamble with their life, knowing that you only want better for them. So for me, I already knew that my life was just destined for greatness. I didn't know what it was. I just knew it was just, it was just ordained for that. So when I got the call, I left the next week immediately. Like I was in a relationship. I left my relationship. I was working as an engineer at the studio, left the studio. I had an apartment packed up, left the apartment, like out of here.
Now talk about betting on yourself.
Out of here. You know what I mean? And when I got to Atlanta, like it's even crazy because I got to Atlanta and you know, like I said, my boy that was kicking it with Waka, that was already out here. When I got out here, I was staying with him.
Okay.
And when I was staying with him, we had a fallout. I used to buy weed off of my boy Bubba. Well, I didn't even know him, but it was a dude named Bubba that used to buy weed from, that used to come around. And I used to just buy weed off of him and just, you know, we just had a bond, like, you know, just cool, you know what I mean? Like, hey, what's up? So I just remember one time when me and my boy had a fallout, I didn't want to stay at his crib no more. I just packed my shit up. And at that moment, I'm like, yeah, I gotta go back to New York. Same for me. Like, you know what I mean, in my head, because I was out here, but it's not like I was around Southside every day.
Right.
You know what I mean? Southside, like I tell this story a lot. Like, Southside, he's the type to just, well, I'm not saying that he's like this with other people, but with me, he just knows I'm just an independent person, so he just always leaves me like, Fuse, gonna figure it out.
Right.
And I always figured it out. But when I was with Bubba, I remember I was telling him, like, I bought some weed, and I was just like, yeah, I just had a fallout with such and such, and da-da-da-da. And he was just like, damn, that's crazy. And Bubba was such a real nigga. He was just like, hey, you know I got an extra bedroom at my apartment. He was just like, you know you can just, you know, come over there. I was just like, oh shit, yeah, fuck it, I'll take you up on that.
Word.
Started posting up with him. And that was like one of the dopest moments of my life, because he was such a good dude, such a down-to-earth dude, such a giving dude, you know what I mean? And I got to see a good side of him, just like my dog.
They say
and
one door closed, another door open.
Absolutely. And it's up to you to walk through it, right?
Absolutely.
So when he allowed me to stay at his crib, you know, he was in the streets doing his thing. And then his girl stayed, you know, towards the end, but like she started to pop up at the crib. And I remember he got locked up. So in my head, I'm just like, well, shit, he might just come home or whatever. So I got a knock at my bedroom door, and it was his girl. And she was just like, yeah, it's not looking too good. She was just like, I don't think Bubba coming home anytime soon. And I was just like, oh, shit. So, you know, I'm like, damn, what do I do now, you know? So I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna just go back to New York. I told her that. She was just like, you sure? I said, yeah. So there was a diner. It was like, what area was that? Stockbridge. It was like a diner up the street. So I was just like, I'm gonna just go to the diner and just, you know, kick it over there and figure some stuff out. I'm gonna just go back to New York. So she was just like, well, okay, if that's what you wanna do. So I waited till like the next day. It was like, I couldn't really sleep. You know what I mean? A lot on my mind. It was like 5, 6 in the morning, early, like real early. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go to the diner. Just book my ticket. I'm out of here. So I went to the diner, opened my laptop, looking at flights and all that. And I promise you, like, I ordered my food came. It had to be like 40 minutes in. I look up, Southside and Waka walk in the diner. So I'm like, what the fuck? So I look up and I'm like, yo, what the hell? And they looking at me like, yo, Fuse, what the hell? And I'm like, where y'all coming from? They like, yo, we just come from the after hours spot. Like, you know, they wavy, trying to get some food and shit. So I'm just like, wow, of all diners, random. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, it wasn't like the diner was in the city. Like I said, it's in Stockbridge.
All the way in Stockbridge, yeah.
So they was like, what are you doing? I said, shit, really, I'm just booking my flight, about to go back to New York. And Southside was like, what? Hell no. And Waka was like, go back to New York. He was just like, oh, where's your stuff at? I said, shit, my shit at Bubba crib. He was just like, I remember he like stopped me, he was just like, go get your stuff, meet me at my house. So I'm just like, okay. You know what I mean? So I was like, send me the Addy, whatever, go get my stuff, pull up. I'm like, oh shit, I'm at a country club, I'm at a mansion. I'm like, oh shit, like, damn. So now I'm living at Waka crib.
Word.
So like I said, like it's just crazy. Like that's what made me stay. Like I could give props to so many pieces of my life, you know what I mean, that helped me get to this point, or helped, you know, allow me to get to this point. But Waka was like the key component. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I tell him every time I see him, like I'd be like, yo, bro, thank you, bro. And he always brush it off like, get out of here. I'd be like, nah, you don't understand, bro. Like, my life has changed. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
cause bro looking at it like, man, real ones do real things.
Bro, he didn't know me.
Yeah.
You feel me? Like, I'm a stranger still. You know what I mean? Like, he know me in the sense of what I do. I make beats. He know that I fuck with Southside. You know, I'm cool with the other dude that he was cool with. So, but for him to just be like, yo, I'll open my doors to you. You can come stay at my crib. That was different. You know what I mean? It was like, to even experience it with Bubba, like another dude who didn't know me. I just bought weed off him. That was it.
I mean, Jay-Z said, real recognize real, and you looking familiar.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
Right.
it's like, you know, just that energy or that, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. I mean, people always tell me I give off good energy, and I always feel like I attract good energy.
Yeah.
So I feel like that was a key component. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, I just got some good people around me.
Right,
you know, for real.
right. And how do you keep that good energy? Like, how have you been able to, you know, maintain that? Because I mean, you know, we go through so many ups and downs in this industry and all that.
Yeah. Be honest with you, it's just doing things that make you happy. And for me, I feel like as long as I could incorporate those things in my day, every day, you know, then I do it, you know, start with my prayers, you know what I mean? Start with a hard day of work. And when I say a hard day, like not no physical labor, but you know, actually focusing in and locking in and getting everything I gotta get done.
Absolutely.
Handling business, cause you know, there's more to it than just making beats, you know what I mean? Making sure I handle all my calls, making sure I pour into my friends,
Yeah.
my peers, making sure I pour into like my label mates, my co-workers, stuff like that on a daily basis. You know, all the close relationships, you know, give a little sprinkle, whatever I can, you know what I mean? Not to spread myself too thin, but I just try to make sure every day my presence is felt in people's lives that I care about and that care about me in some shape, form, or fashion, you know what I mean?
No, that's what's up, man. That's super important, you know what I mean, to like be intentional, like about, you know, those things, you know what I mean? Because that always brings back that good energy, you know what I mean? If you putting it in the right place.
Right,
you know what I mean?
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Nah, for sure. So, man, so you staying at Waka House, I mean, what's that experience like? Is it like just record, like a recording factory? Like, is that, you know what I mean? Are y'all just producing and recording like all day or like what's that like?
Oh man, so it was crazy. I love that house, man. It was crazy, but you know, I'm transparent. So like the first day I stayed at Waka's house, I got left. When I say I got left, like I didn't know the etiquette of like when it's time to get ready for a tour.
Okay.
So I'm basically on like I didn't have the room ready because the room didn't have the bed in it. It just room. So there was a couch outside the room that I just slept on the couch. So as I remember, I'm sleeping on the couch and there's like, it's just so funny to be, like this is like I said, it's my first sleepover. So I'm sleeping over and it's like 7 a.m., 8 a.m. around that time. So my back is turned facing the back of the couch as to where my back is just facing the rest of the room. I ain't like sleep, but not sleep where I could hear everything that's like going on. So I just hear a whole bunch of fumbling around. I hear people like, yo, you got this? Yo, you got that? Yo, make sure you got this. This. And I'm hearing it, but nobody's saying, yo, Fuse. Nobody's saying, hey, Fuse. Nobody's shaking me, waking me up. Nobody's saying, yo, Fuse. Nothing. So I'm just sitting there listening, and it went from a whole bunch of noise to a door closing and then complete silence. So I'm just like, I'm gonna wait like 5 more minutes. So I just laid there on the couch and I'm just like, all right, hold on, let me get up. So I get up and I walk around the house empty. House empty. Waka left me in his house with actually he had his cousin, G-Rock. You know what I mean? I ain't even know G-Rock neither. And he left his cousin there. Yeah. So it was just me and G-Rock in the house for like a week. These niggas was on tour, having the best time of their life, and I'm just in the house like stuck in the country club. Like I can't even get to a gas station. Cause you know, like where he lived at, like if your name is not on the house,
oh man, yeah,
ain't no getting back. Yeah. So like once you get out that gate, it's over. You know what I mean? So for the fact I was in the gate, I'm like, gotta survive and make so just made do. But living in the house with like when everybody got back and just I was there for like 3 years. I was there for a little minute. It was just, brotherhood. That's the key word. Yeah. Brotherhood. You know what I mean? Like my boy Chaz, to Woo, to like I said, Flock, Pac-Man, Sizzle, shit, London on the track.
Word. So what was that like, man, during that time, like working with like the whole BrickSquad and all that? Cause I mean, that was an era, you know what I mean? Like that BrickSquad, like what was that, what was that like, man?
I mean, it was great. I ain't even gonna lie, like it was just like, from a producer standpoint, it's like something you could dream of because everybody was so hungry. All of them, like from the top tier artists to the bottom, you know what I mean? Like everybody wanted to get on, everybody wanted to shine, everybody wanted to put music out, so everybody wanted to work. And that's why I was just like, damn, everybody's working. You know what I mean? Like, even though I'm more of a person who works during the day, I learned like the nightlife, you know what I mean? But, just the transition and just being in that environment, everybody just worked. We used to go to the studio that was ran by my boy Big A. Work. Like around the clock, like the sacrifice was crazy because I felt like at that time there was nothing else that could entertain me but work.
Yeah.
I'm still kind of like that right now, you know what I mean? Because I love what I do, but before it became like, I found the love, you know what I mean? It was like the hustle, you know what I mean? It was just like, I was loving the hustle before,
Right.
you know what I mean? And it was just like, man, we in the studio today? What time? All right, I'm about to make these beats before we get to the studio. When I get to the studio, I'm making beats while we in the studio.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? All right, we recorded to those, all right. While they recording, I'm probably making more beats, and you know what I mean? That gets back to the house. Might make 2 more beats before I go to sleep. You know what I mean? Like, it was just crazy, like, no distractions.
Yeah.
Like, I loved it.
Or, you know, it's interesting, bro. Like, when I think of, you know, like, you guys within 808 Mafia and, like, Gucci, Waka, you know, like you said, Woo the Kid, OJ, like, everybody, you know, that y'all was just working with, like, through those times, that kind of gives me a feeling of when I think about those Rockefeller days and when you hear about them at Baseline and there's, you know, Jay, Beanie and Jess Blaze and all that, you know what I mean? Like, it gives me that kind of just historic feel and that same kind of,
really
you know,
is.
nostalgia kind of feel when I think about that.
No, it really is. And like I said, me coming here, I had to learn what the impact of BrickSquad.
Yeah.
I knew BrickSquad was like a thing. I knew BrickSquad was like huge in the Atlanta scene, but it was just like, nah, that shit is huge. That shit is a culture. That shit is like, it's damn near a cult when I got here. You know what I mean? Like, you go outside, niggas are screaming BrickSquad. You go to the club, they're screaming BrickSquad. Niggas getting beat up by BrickSquad. Like, it was just BrickSquad, man. It was just crazy. But it was kind of, the funny thing about it was, this is the most funny thing for me. I can't speak for nobody else, but coming from where I'm coming from Roosevelt, you know, I was heavy in the gang banging life. You know what I mean? Like, really outside. And it was just like, I remember like, you know, once you get locked up after a couple times, whether it's for something big, whether it's for something small, once you're just in that cell, you just like, this ain't it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I just remember one of the last times I got locked up, I was just like, man, I don't want to be in this shit.
Yeah.
I got to do something with my life. Like, you know what I mean? So when I got the chance, it was so funny, like, to, you know, do music on a larger scale for larger artists. I looked at it like, oh, I can get away from the craziness.
Yeah.
I got here, it was more crazy. It was like, oh my God. But, you know, everything goes hand in hand. The music, the streets, it all plays a part together in who I am, you know what I mean? So I don't shy away from it. It was just funny as hell because I'm thinking I'm getting away from something.
Yeah.
And I'm just like in the melting pot of it.
Word.
You know what
Oh,
I mean?
for sure.
So it's just
Man,
like,
what would you say is like one of the biggest life lessons that you've learned, you know, thus far through your
the
experience?
biggest life lessons. Man, I need a scroll.
Huh.
Man, the biggest one though, if I could just pick one, I would definitely say like, handle your business. And when I say that, it's just like, when I got into this music industry, I was just so excited to be here. You know what I mean? It was just nothing but excitement, just like a kid in the candy store, but I didn't understand business.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the ins and outs, how to dot my I's, how to cross my T's, who's who should represent for me, who should speak for me, who should I be around, who I shouldn't. And it was just like, I didn't do none of that. I was just out here just, you know, raw dogging, free, you know what I mean? just getting into all types of shit, but not handling my business. So it took for years to go by, and then I remember one day waking up, I get with a manager, it's my boy Serge. I got with him and he hooked me up with a lawyer, and I just remember sitting down having these conversations about music shit that I just didn't know the terms of, shit that I just didn't understand. And it was just like, I'm playing myself, you know what I mean? Like, because these are two people that speak in a language I don't know. And yeah, I understand they're on my team at this moment, but they could really just be speaking some shit and just going over my head, and I could still be in the, you know, position of where I'm getting hurt.
Yeah.
I had to learn, you know what I mean? So I would say like, if you're gonna come into this music industry, this music business, understand, yeah, you make music in here, yeah, you sell music in here, but it's a business.
Yeah.
You have to handle your business.
Nah, for sure, man.
So-
And knowledge is power, you know? And it's easy to get caught up, you know, like working in the industry and you start connecting with cats, and then the lifestyle, like I mean, like how you said, man, like you moved into Waka's mansion,
right.
and like if I mean someone like in an opportunity like that, in a situation like that, man, it's easy to crash out. You know what I mean? Like it's easy to like start getting caught up in just the lifestyle, and like you said, like not handling business. Now, I mean, we've seen a lot of people come and go on that tip because they think that it's all fun and games.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But don't understand that at the end of the day, you need your paperwork right. You need
your paperwork right.
And
I kind of already knew that. Just being a kid, watching people from. Not to say no names, but just popular artists speaking their stories, talking about how they got jerked or bad deals or bad situations, and just me just sitting back like, I don't want that to be me. You know what I mean? And not saying like I wore those shoes. I would never sit here and say I signed a bad deal. You know what I mean? But I would definitely feel like there was a lot of things I could have done earlier in my career if I had the knowledge.
Okay.
So that's just about it. Like,
Word. So let me ask you, like, what are some of those do's and don'ts that you would say and that you would, like tell producers, like to do and not to do early in their career?
All right, off rip, save your money. I know it sounds like it's coming from a parent or something. Like I know people look at me and be like, "Man, you spending your money on this." People watch my gram. They see I be, buying Louis and all types of, fun stuff. But I work hard for this, and at the end of the day, I know who I am, and I'm, like I said, I'm a transparent person. I'm materialistic. I like material things, so that's what I choose to spend my money on. But I work for it, but with understanding that this shit right here don't come before my bills. This shit right here don't come before fam. You know what I mean? Like, it's cool to have it, but gotta have your priorities straight. You know what I mean? And I knew when I started coming across money, of course, who don't want to go shopping? Who don't want to buy your desires? You know what I'm saying? But when you actually sit back, like you really sit back and look in the room, and you notice that your friends ain't eating like you. You notice that your family still have bills to pay. You know what I mean? It's like, you look at those those racks a little bit different. Like, damn, I could be doing this. And you don't want buyer's remorse. You don't want to buy something like, damn, why did I do that? You know what I mean? You're never gonna feel it until later on. That's the crazy thing. I had to learn that because I've been blessed enough to come across a lot of checks. But I remember my first one, I ran through that and I was just like, damn, that shit went like evaporated water, like damn. But when I sat back and looked around, I had nothing to show for it. It was just gone.
What would you say is the dumbest thing that you spent money on? When you got like to some big money.
Strippers. Yeah. I mean, that's just being silly, but I'll just say like, I remember I got like a check, and my boy was like, "Yo, meet me at the strip club." And it was like Follies. And I was like, all right, bet, I'll meet you over there. I still had it in check form.
Oh, wow.
So I'm just like, I have no money, but I'm going to a strip club. I have to cash this check. My dumb ass cashed the check and like literally just like singles. Feeling like I'm doing something, you know what I mean? Like,
Did you cash the check at a check cashing place?
I cashed the check at a bank.
Okay.
Got my money. Went to the strip club, my G, with all that money. All I know is that the next day I was praying.
You spent it on too?
The next day I was praying, my guy. I was on the floor like, God, I will never do this dumb shit ever again. Please forgive me, these strippers. I can't get my money back, but I'll provide me with work to get this money back. Like, I was pissed. So yeah, I would say that was the dumbest thing ever.
Yeah.
I remember, them dudes that be doing the bottle caps and shit.
Oh yeah.
My dumb ass fell for that too. Dumb.
I've never seen a human being win that game. Like, I've never seen a dude come and win.
I learned, I'm gonna be honest with you, for anybody watching this and you got
not the 3-car Armani, but the one with the caps.
Yeah, with the caps.
Yeah,
the 3 caps. So I was gonna say my advice, man. I don't know why I wasn't thinking about it. I know I probably would have gotten some shit, but I was just like, man, you got them dudes and they playing that 3 cap thing, just knock the whole shit out their hand. and just see if that shit is really there. Like, cause it was no way they took my money. Like, they put the thing under the cap. I'm watching it like with the hawk eye, and I'm just like, I got this money, yeah. And they lift that cap up, and that ball wasn't there. I was sick. Like, and there was another situation. That day when that happened was another day where I was broke as shit and got some money. So that's why I had to learn, like, all right, these are signs, like, I should not be spending this money like this. So, I would just say, like, yo, be careful with your money. I tell producers that all the time. It's hard, but like I said, it's hard to tell people that when they see you with nice things, because they want nice things.
And then, you know, people always, when someone like in your position give someone some advice like that, they'll look at you and say, well, Fuse, I mean, that's easy for you to say, bro, you got it. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. And it's tough. It's really tough, man, because...
But what people don't understand is that perspective gives you, like, the experience and that perspective then allows you to be able to share that with somebody to give them that game. But people never understand that if they're not in that position.
And honestly, that's the only thing I wish I had, like, growing up, not even saying growing up, let's just say like when I got in the industry and I first started coming across money, I wish I was around more people. No shade towards anybody I was around. I'm just saying, like, I wish I had somebody in my circle that was like, yo, you should get into real estate. Yo, you should invest. Yo, you should do this. Yo, I understand you happy about this money, but you should take this money, do this with this money, and then years from now, this money might turn into that kind of money. And I wasn't programming like that. It was just like, hey, let's go to the store. Let's go to the mall. You know what I mean? Like, so. But that's just like one of my big things, like just gotta be savvy with your money. You know what I mean? Handle your business. And,
for sure. Now, was there anything, you know, when you came here to Atlanta, like was there anything that like surprised you? Like when you were, you know, working with, you know, Southside, working with Waka, Gucci and all of them, like was there anything like through the process, you know what I mean, that might have been even different from how you were used to people recording, like when you was up top or anything like that, you know?
Yeah, how people record, well, out here, I may have seen it once in New York, but out here, everybody just like, they don't write, they don't believe in writing. Like they don't write nothing on paper.
Everybody punch in.
Everybody punch in. Line for line. They'll say a line, hey, punch me in. Hey, punch me. So that's what made me stop engineering.
See, that was gonna be my next question. What I was about to ask you was, how did you adjust to engineering coming from there to here? Because I know that had to be almost nerve-wracking.
Yeah, so that's what made me stop engineering because I wasn't used to that. So like I said, even it was a pet peeve of mine even back in New York, like if you didn't come to the studio and have your lyrics memorized, like I'm getting paid by the hour, but it's not like I was getting paid $100 an hour. Like I'm getting paid like $20 an hour back then. It was just like, come on. And it was just like, all right, recording. And it was just very tedious. I hated it. But when I got out here and I noticed that everybody was like, hey, punch me in. All right, now punch me the next line. All right, next line. I was like, damn, this could really turn into like a crazy 3-hour session for one song. Like I was just like, nah, I'm not built for that.
Do you have any experiences with like Waka or Gucci or anything, like early on, where like, were you engineering them? Like, did you ever experience doing that?
I never engineered Guwap, never engineered Waka, but Southside, he raps. So he did his first mixtape, Free Agent, and then he did Free Agent 2, and then another mixtape, Young Extravagant Niggas. So for those mixtapes, I was engineering. But that was different. And honestly, it was different because Southside records fast. He's actually good. You know what I mean? So it was just like, all right, I record. He's like, all right, next line. And even though he's saying next line, the next line is ready. So I was just like, okay, I'll fuck with this. So because he works fast and the chemistry we had, it was just like, all right, I'll engineer for you. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, all right, cool. But it wasn't one of them things where I felt like I have to engineer out here. But I will say now, 2023, this year, like even like going back like a little bit, like 5 years even or more, a little bit, like engineers is really the key. They run this shit. You know what I mean? When
I first noticed that, bro, was being in the studio a lot with Pluto, and you know, God rest his soul, Seth Firkins.
Seth, my guy.
That was the first time that I had seen engineering and really looked at it like as an art. Because the way that Seth used to engineer Future and the way that they had their chemistry, and I mean, I would be in the studio and I would never hear Future say, run that back or play that back. But the way that they had their chemistry and how they would do it, and then how he would move sounds and move different things, and then you wouldn't even hear it. And then by the time Future came out of the booth and came into the room, like the song was put together, and it's like, man, this is magic.
Man, I'm so happy you even brought up Seth. May he rest in peace. Like he's another key component in my life.
Wow.
Because he's the reason like me and Future was able to record so many like good songs and become who we are.
Wow,
you know what I mean?
He
Because
was a great dude.
he just being able to be like, yo, Seth, I'm gonna sing beats. You know what I mean? Like Seth pull my beats up. You know, Pluto go record to him, but man, like Seth is just different. Like he was just different, man. And there will never be another Seth. There's a lot of people that come close, like, you know what I mean, that's talented. A lot of dope engineers Future work with. A lot of them, you know what I mean? But Seth, like I say, we all know, like he had his sound.
I remember being on tour, on the Would You Like a Tour, and we were in LA, and Seth wasn't on the road with us yet. And so we were in LA, we were working at Chalice. We were working at Chalice Studios. And there was some engineer in there. And I mean, it was the most frustrating session. And I mean, I remember like bro wouldn't even finish like the song because it was so frustrating how the engineer just couldn't keep up with him.
Right.
And so he like canceled the studio session and everything. And then he flew Seth out like the next day. And then Seth was on the road with us, was on tour. He set up the studio on the buzz. And it was like, all right, that problem's eliminated. Because, you know what I'm saying? He can't
I mean, for all the artists watching this, take care of your engineers, man. They control your sound. Like, take care of your producers too.
Absolutely.
But the engineer, man, like, man, I see a lot of engineers get slept on. I see engineers get treated bad. I see engineers that are underpaid, that don't get their just due. Engineers, like, they just as much producing the record as we are. You know what I mean? They putting it together. They presenting the final product. There's no final product without the engineer. You feel what I'm saying? So
for sure.
That's why I'll be like, yo, you got to take care of the engineer. So for him, in the way he put Seth on that pedestal, like, it's only right. You know what I mean? Like, it's only right. So
that's what's up, man. Yeah, man. Long live Ferg, man. Man, Seth was such a good dude, man. So you had mentioned that you was you had mentioned that you were producing for Southside, or that you were engineering Southside, and
producing and engineering.
Right. Yep. And so I know you had produced like his first project and all that. Man, Southside was dope, bro. Like he's one of the like producers that, you know what I'm saying, rappers that like, I mean, bro was hard.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? I always like wish that he would have, you know what I'm saying, kept going with it.
No, he's still going with it. He got an album about to drop.
Word.
Southside never stopped working. Like, don't ever underestimate, like, he's always working. You know what I mean? I understand people thinking like, oh no, he's working on beats. Like, no, he's working as a rapper. He's in the studio probably right now. Like, you know what I mean? So I love it. He might not share all his music to the world I feel like he should. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like he's sitting on a catalog of music. Like, at this point, catalog of music. I'm just ready for him to start dropping shit.
Word. Well, man, I want to tap into some of your placements, man, because like you got like some really dope placements, and I mean, even from like kind of a wide array, you know, of artists. Like, I mean, Big Sean, Moves, you know what I'm saying? That's one of his biggest songs, you know what I mean? And I mean, that beat so hard. Like, what was it, you know, like, what was it like? Were you able to work with him like on that, or, you know what I mean?
No, that was another crazy situation. So that beat, it's co-produced by Trey Pounds. And Trey Pounds, me and him, we had made that beat for Southside. And Southside recorded to it. He had a song called Winning 3 that he had put out on that. So he had released it on SoundCloud or something like that. But we was like me and Trey Pound were actually excited about Southside's song. Like, we was excited. But he had another song that he did called Sandman, and he did that with Metro. And then he shot the video for that. You know what I mean? So we was just like, man, he's sleeping on us. Like, you know what I mean? Me and Trey Pounds is being silly, like, man, he's sleeping. He need to do the video to this. He never did, whatever. So fast forward, life goes on. Like I said, I'm with my manager. So my manager, he's like tight with No ID. And this is around the time No ID was at Def Jam. And, you know, Big Sean being the artist under Def Jam. I gave the beat to my manager. My manager gave the beat to No ID. No ID gave the beat to Big Sean. The song got recorded. So from what I was told and how it was brought to my attention, Big Short, I think he was in, I don't want to misquote it, but I could be wrong. I think he was like somewhere far as hell, like Russia or some shit. Like another state, another country, somewhere far, somewhere cold. Cause one of my partners, he had called us and he was just like, hey, I'm here with Big Sean and he played me this record and it sounded like a beat y'all did. And I was just like, for real? I said, what's the name of the beat? And he told us the name of the beat. And I was like, oh shit. You know what I mean? So he was just like, yeah, Big Sean had recorded the song, but he heard the 808 Mafia tagging it, but he didn't know who in 808 Mafia produced it. So he was just like trying to figure it out. So being that, you know, my partner that he pulled up on, that he was around in the studio, that he knew that his ties to 808 Mafia, he was just like, yo, who made this beat? And it was, that was a good call, like, you know, to know that I, you know, he had something to do with that, you know what I mean, to call me and be like, yo, Fuse. So yeah, come to find out, you know, it was Big Sean, and I just remember, like, be honest, like I just, when he said Big Sean recorded the song, he's trying to put the song out, I just remember I was just like, yeah, shit is real now. You know what I mean? Like, I worked with a lot of artists, but it was just like, I knew what his numbers is like. I knew what he, you know what I mean, the damage he was doing. So it was just like,
Yeah, so yeah, man, like you got a lot of production with Future. Like, what is it like working with bro in the studio?
Future's a talented person. He's great, man. Like, he inspires me a lot, you know what I mean? Like, not to sound corny, I see a lot of myself in him, you know what I mean? So, I remember the first time I worked with Future ever, I was in the studio, and I was at the studio with Southside, and Southside was just like, yo, I gotta go to this other session, drop these beats off the meet. He said, I'm gonna come back. He was like, yo, you gonna come with me? And I just remember I was in the room, and it was like Future had all his peoples in there. It was like 12 people in there, and maybe more. It was a lot of people in the room, but Southside was like, all right, well, I'm about to go. So I was just like, I'm gonna just post up. And he was just like, all right. I didn't even think he was gonna leave me, I'll be honest with you, like, you know what I mean? Because I didn't even know Future like that. We didn't have no real relationship. You know, he knew who I was, but it was just like a fly on the wall, you know what I mean? And that day, Southside left, I remember I was in the studio, and like I said, it had to be at least 12 to 20 something people in the room. I remember I dozed off, like I'm on the couch. That's a rule, like you don't fall asleep in the studio, especially with Future. Like if he see you fall asleep, you out of here, like you pack it up. I would say like I guess it just wasn't my time to pack it up because I actually fell asleep and I got away with it. So I remember I like dozed off. I was just like this, and I just looked up and I just looked around. I was just like, oh shit, ain't nobody else in here. It was just Future and Seth. Future was still recording though. He had his headphones, you know, they were still doing their thing. So I was just like, oh shit. So I was in the awkward position right there, not knowing like if I should get up and leave or if I should just post up. So I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna post up until he tell me, you know what I mean? Like until, you know what I mean? And I just sat there. I just remember he finished recording the song that he finished. He was in this chair, he leaned back, looked over, saw me on the couch. He was like, hey, Fuse, you got beats? You ain't gotta tell me twice. Went up in that lap, you know what I mean? Went in my bag, grabbed my laptop with the quickness. And I remember I just put my laptop on the table. Seth was like, yo, go ahead, you plug up. So I plug up and I just going through beats. So like, I'm one of them people that like, if I play beat, I like to look at the artist's reaction sometimes, you know what I mean? Like, see if they feeling it. Try to read the room. Like, that's a big thing, you gotta read the room. So, you know, you see an artist into it, they vibing to it, you like, all right, they like this beat, I'm gonna let it play. Or if you just see them sitting there, if they threw their phone, and you like, all right, next beat. So I'm playing beats, I'm really not looking at them yet. Then I just like, remember I just looked up and I'm looking like this to my right, and he's not bopping. He has his like head down and his like, I couldn't tell if his eyes was closed or not, 'cause he had on shades, but he was just down like this. And I was just like, damn, my beats are whack. You know what I mean? Like, they ain't fucking with my shit. I skipped the beat. He was just like, yo, why you stop? Why you skip the beat? And I was just like, oh, my bad. I didn't know, you know what I mean, he was feeling it. So I went back. He was just like, yo, he told me the realest, like, I don't even want to say it's the realest thing, but it was like one of the dopest things a person ever told me. He was just like, yo, your beats, like, yo, they just made me think about my life. So when he said that, I was like, oh shit. You know what I mean? This is the start. And he was just like, yo, take down my number. And that was it. You know what I mean? Like,
Because the most impactful music is that invokes like emotion. You know what I mean?
But that's what I was going for with all my music, especially like in that time period, like emotion, melody, shit that, you know what I mean, strikes a nerve or makes you feel a certain type of way.
Absolutely.
So
I wanted to ask you because, you know, I heard the Rick Ross song in the video, Pin to the Cross. And he had dropped that like, you know, I think like after the George Floyd stuff and all that. And the song was pertaining to that. But so when you made that beat, like, do you remember if you made that beat with that type of feeling in mind or?
Nah,
no? Okay.
Another transparent moment, like A-Rap music, that's my boy. And around that time, this is like me and him just started really like locking in together, like really locking in. And I was just like, yo, bro, cause I would just be like, yo, I'm around other artists that, you know, I'm sure you wanna work with, you know what I mean, stuff like that. Like, yo, you can send me beats too, you know what I mean? Like, I could help you out. And he was just like, all right. Yeah, I remember he sent me a pack of beats and I just had them, I remember the pack of beats he had in my, he had sent me, they was in my computer for a while, like a couple months. And I remember like, it was time I got that call, like, yo, Rose ready. So I was like, damn, all right, I'm gonna give him some shit. So I remember I was going through the folders, and I was just like, you know what, A-Rap. You know what I mean? In my head, I'm like, this nigga he got shit that I know this nigga gonna fuck with. So I was going through the folder, and there was this one particular beat, and I was just like, I like this beat. I was just like, you know what? But I say I'm one of them people that's like, yeah, I would send you a beat, but I ain't even gonna lie. I'm like, yo, let me add something to that. You know what I mean? So it was just like, I had hit him. I was just like, yo, I'm about to send this beat to Rose. You know what I mean? Let's see what happened. I sent the beat back, and then they had hit me. They was like, yo, we need the stems, and you know, just we rocking with it. So I was just like, oh shit. So I remember I'm like, yo, A-Rap, they rocking with it. I said, yeah. I said, yo, let me add my sauce to it. He was like, all right, bet. He sent me the stems and, you know, I added stuff to the beat and I was just like, all right, I'm gonna send this version. You know what I mean? And I sent the updated version of the beat and then they kept it, they rocked with it. And that's how we got Pinned to the Cross.
Word, no, that's what's up, man. That's what's up. And man, for our viewers, you know what I'm saying, I wanna just let them know, like, you know, who's sitting in front of this camera because, I mean, you got production credits, bro, with Future, Young Thug, Gucci Mane, Jaden Smith, Rick Ross, Moneybagg Yo, Pierre Bourne, Currency, Lil Durk, Chief Keef, 2 Chainz, Meek Mill. Like, you've worked with a lot of people and a lot of our favorite artists, man. You know what I'm saying? I just want to make sure that, like, our audience know, you know what I mean, like, who Fuse from 808 Mafia is and the impact that you've had on the game and, you know what I mean, really, you know, understand that. But,
I mean, I get it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm under this big umbrella called 808 Mafia, you know what I mean? And everybody, when they think of 808 Mafia, they're usually thinking of Southside. That's a beautiful thing. He created this umbrella for us, you feel me? The work that we all put in as individuals, you know, we all take that choice whether to brand ourselves or brand the brand.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
I was just one of those people that was just like, man, I'm brand the brand.
Yeah.
You feel me? Like, I get it. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I had beats and it was just some kind of extravagant tag that said Fuse or something, that I probably would have had a lot more notoriety. You know what I mean? I'd probably be more of a household name. But that wasn't my concern. You know what I mean? It was just like I said, I was happy to be here. I was in a great position, making good money. I'm around good, my brothers, my family. We building something bigger than from what I got to it. Absolutely. So just like, yo, let's just keep it going. So a lot of music that I produce or put out, you know, a lot of people are familiar that it's an 808 Mafia product, but they don't know to associate it with me. You know what I mean? And I'm cool with that, you know what I mean? Like, there's some, like I said, there's some people who go the route of looking for the name and the fame, and there's some people who go for the fortune. I was just one of those people that was just, yo, let's get this money.
Word,
you know
word.
I mean?
Well, that's why I want to make sure to be able to give you your flowers because, you know, for somebody humble like yourself, you know what I mean? Like, sometimes it takes for somebody else to, you know, get on that megaphone and let folks know, like, you know, who they in the presence of.
I really appreciate that. Nah, for real.
We want to give you your flowers here, bro. You know,
and it's crazy because when I go out and people that do know me, they do the same. They give me my flowers. I get my flowers often. but it's just
what's
so,
up.
you like, I still view myself as, I'm just fuse on the block, you know what I mean? Like, I'm just regular, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I mean, even, bro, like at the point in time some years back when we, worked out of the same office.
Absolutely.
I mean, we literally were in offices next to each other. And I think you and me, with our humble personalities, probably both didn't even know like who each other was to a certain degree. But it was always respect.
Always.
Anytime you need something, got you. Vice versa. Anytime we see each other, you know what I mean. But but that's ill though. And so with with that, I mean, I feel like every crew, you need like, you need those different personalities. So you need like your people that's more out there, or you need your team member that is more laid back. Maybe it's the more observant one, maybe the one that can like analyze a room or a situation and then, tell everybody else kind of how to move or what they seeing. So, so I respect that, man. But speaking on, all of these different artists that you've been able to work with, are there who are some artists that you would like to work with that you haven't yet?
Man, I know it's going. I wouldn't even say it's shocking. Like, it's not rap. You know what I mean? It's like Beyonce, Rihanna, and Taylor Swift.
Word.
Yeah. Over there. That's why I really want to go with it. Cause that's the thing. 808 Mafia is like known for a sound.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But every producer in 808 Mafia can make more than just trap music.
Right.
We could do R&B, we could do pop, we could do rock, we dibble and dabble everything. It's just about what the artist is looking for.
Yeah.
So if artists keep coming to us saying, hey, we need trap, or we need this type of sound, and we give it to them, that's what the public gonna hear.
Yeah.
But it's not like we don't have an arsenal of all that other stuff. You know what I mean? Like we are all, like TM got a rock record coming out, like everybody, it's just I don't even know how to put it in words. It's just like kind of unbelievable how sometimes people could box us in when we don't really belong in that box. It's kind of crazy. But yeah, like I said, I want to work with artists over there. But as for everybody in the rap industry, I think I pretty much worked with everybody I wanted to work with. You know what I mean? Like, not in a humble way. Like I kind of worked with everybody. Like, so I want to keep working with everybody, keep the relationships going, keep making great music. But if I had to choose on the artists that I didn't work with, like I said, it'll probably be like Beyonce, Rihanna, like stuff like that.
Wow, I can dig it. You released a project with Currency a few years ago, and then just dropped, last year I would say you dropped part 2 of that project. I think that was a surprise, to a lot of people, to hear like the Currency fuse, Currency 808 Mafia,
right.
You know what I'm saying, collaboration. Like, what was it like working with Spitta?
Man, he's a great dude, humble dude. I mean, he's like, his spirit, something about his spirit is like, he has such a good spirit, you know what I mean? Like I said earlier in the interview, like I love attracting good energy. Right. And I feel like both of our energies in the studio is just like a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing, like with some artists, you kind of have to build up the chemistry, fill each other out, you know what I mean? Like stuff like that. With me and him, I promise you, immediately it was like, we knew each other for years, you know what I mean? Like, before we even worked on music, like we knew of each other. I remember I'm in the Louis store, I'm at the register, I'm buying this denim jacket, and I just see like, this dude with this big old entourage behind him come behind me like, hey man, you ain't gonna get that, you playing around. I'm like, oh, who that? I'm like, oh shit. And then, we give each other a hug, and like, it was just crazy, cause like I said, like, the energy is just like, we knew each other for years, It was just crazy. Then on the last project, like the first project, it was during COVID.
Right.
So we couldn't really get in the studio and work together, but we still got the job done. On the last project, I wanted to be like more hands-on, you know what I mean? Especially with the engineering side. Like, not saying like I was behind the board, my boy Flu, he was the one, he was the one that was doing the engineering, but just being more assertive as to what we could do and what we shouldn't do. And I went to New Orleans and we made the whole album in like, I'd say like a week or so.
Wow.
We knocked that shit out, like, and it was like, it's not a rushed project. Like, I don't want people to hear like, oh, a week, y'all niggas rushed it. Like, no, we took a lot of time in that week, and change to cultivate that dope ass album. You know
I mean,
what I mean?
Currency
Like,
drops so much music, you know, in such high volume and in such quality that, you know, I wouldn't even take that as, you know what I mean? Like y'all just ran through it.
Oh,
Because,
yeah,
you know
yeah,
what I
yeah.
mean? Like it's an understanding that, I mean, you know, like there's a volume of like quality music, but that's dope, man.
Yeah, he's real good. He invited me to his crib. Got to be around his family.
Word.
You know, got to be around all his cars. You know, he loved his cars.
Yeah.
And I got to see the other side of him. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't just. But this is what I like about with certain artists is like when it's not just music.
Yeah.
Like when we get around each other, it's just, yo, I got this beat for you. Oh, Fuse, that song we recorded, like we don't gotta just be that. Like we
Right.
could talk about. There's so many things in this world.
Right.
So me going there. Of course, I'm going there with producer intentions,
Yeah.
but just kicking it with him and being around him every day, like, dude be racing Hot Wheels.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
You feel me? Like, he got me racing Hot Wheels. I never raced Hot Wheels. I wasn't even into Hot Wheels.
Yeah.
I didn't give a fuck about Hot Wheels.
That's
You know what I'm saying? I go to his spot. He got like the whole big racetrack set up, big old extravagant setup.
Yeah.
He has like millions of Hot Wheels. Like out the box,
Yeah.
just like he calls it the lot. Then he got millions of Hot Wheels in the box, still brand new. And then it's like when it's time to race, you gotta go buy a car.
Word.
You know?
That's crazy.
Like he's like, yo, go to the lot, get your, you know what I mean? Get your cars right. And then you sitting there going through all of these cars, like, yo, I'm really sitting here shopping for a Hot Wheel.
Yeah.
Like this is crazy.
Currency sound like he living like all of our like 10-year-old dream, you know what I mean? When we dream to have all these toys and the video games and man, if I had all this money, I'd have every Nintendo
Yo,
game
one of my producers, Cash, he be saying that shit like he say, yo, man, I'm living my 10-year-old dream. Like
Come
he
on.
be eating cereal and fucking like, man, it's like 3 in the afternoon. What's wrong with you, man? Like, you know what I mean? Like that's just how I get it. You know what I mean? Like stay young. That's the process.
Cause DJ Paul is like that.
Yeah.
Like I see DJ Paul, like he got, cause you know, like 3 6 Mafia always in the horrorcore and they was always into the scary movies, all that. So, you know, you see DJ Paul with like the life-size Jason and Freddy Krueger, Michael Myers, and like all the, you know, just ill stuff, man. I mean,
yeah, I'm the same
what
way.
it's about, bro.
Yeah, I'm the same way with my aesthetic. Like you come to my house, you see bare bricks, you see Bape, you see, you know, cool rugs, carpets, posters, pictures, and sneakers on the wall. You know, it just be cool. I'm into shit like that too. So it's like, yeah, do whatever makes you feel young, stay young, you know what I mean? Like no matter how old I get, I'm gonna skateboard. No matter how old I get, I'm gonna ride dirt bikes. You know what I mean? Like it's just in my blood.
Yeah, and so I was just gonna tap into that, man. Like, you know, outside of music, production, you know what I'm saying, all of that, like what are some things that you into doing, man? I've seen on your gram, like you skateboard and you're on them dirt bikes and all that and that lifestyle.
Yeah, those are my loves right there. Those are my 2 loves right there. I mean, basketball, but that's recreation. You know what I mean? I love basketball, do it to, you know, for the cardio, but like we're talking about like getting the thrill, the adrenaline rush, you know, just everything just in one. Like I'm on that bike, man. There's nothing like that bike. Jumping on the highway, just hitting 100, switching lanes on them, you know what I mean? Or throwing that wheel up, you know what I mean? Like ain't nothing like that. It's just
that real bike life.
Yeah, same thing with skateboarding, you know, like ain't nothing like trying to conquer a trick. Ain't nothing like trying to overcome an obstacle, you know what I mean? Or just riding, just when you just coasting, just got your headphones on and you just feeling the breeze, you know what I mean? Like it's just feel free, you know what I mean? Like freedom is everything to me. Like, these things make me feel free.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I'm sure that also helps you, like when you do tap into your creative process, because you've actually given yourself time to step away, have these experiences in other realms. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know, like when we used to be at the 12, like dudes used to be watching the camera sometimes, they'd be in the room, cause I'll just be in there, I'll be like, man, I'm about to go, I need a break. And I'll just go in the parking lot and just be skateboarding in the parking lot. People be like, yo, Phil, man, I just saw you on the camera using the front like parking lot. Yeah, cause it's just like, I feel like I gotta do these things to, you know what I mean, like release. It's like a form of release, and like even like I take boxing too. It's like a form of release. You know what I mean? I feel like these things are like, it just makes you feel free. And I feel like whatever it is you do or anybody else do to make them feel free, I feel like it should be incorporated every day.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. Like you gotta, like just as much as we have to be disciplined and consistent with how we grind, how we, how we work and all that, we gotta be the same type of discipline and consistent with getting enough rest, drinking enough water, getting enough sunlight on us, you know what I'm saying? Doing enough physical activity, you feel me? Like all of that. So.
It's so funny you even say that because, I hear that a lot because these are things I'll be like depriving myself of sometimes. And then, it definitely got to, self-care is a lot.
Absolutely,
absolutely. I'm just like really starting to get into that now, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like it's never too late to get into it.
For sure.
But
I mean, bro, like speaking on that, I mean, I'm about 4 months into like being intentional with my self-care and with all of that. So, bro, it's never too late.
That's
you know what
fire.
I'm saying? For
real.
I
applaud that.
Yeah, man.
I see I like the fact you said the I word, intentional. You know what I'm saying? And like for me, I like to be intentional with just anything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like even if it's work, whether I'm making the beat, I'm just at this intentional point of my life.
Absolutely.
Like, you know what I mean? So yeah, definitely when it comes to self-care, I'm trying to just, be more proactive with my diet, just overall health. Yeah. Especially as black men.
For sure, man.
You know what
I mean, we work this hard, we grind this hard. Like, bro, we need to be here healthy, strong to be able to enjoy all this, run our run these companies, run, these empires, that we build and then be able to teach, the younger cats that's coming up under us, you know what I'm saying? Like giving them the game so that they can come up and, you know what I
got friends that are, that have had passed away or that have health complications in their 30s. And it's just like, damn, you know what I mean? Like, you don't want to rob your future. From health, you know what I'm saying, because of health. You know what I mean? Something that you actually could, be proactive about and
absolutely
grab the wheel about. And I like I say, I had close friends that have passed away due to bad health, and for me, it's just like I felt like they robbed themselves.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I'm saying? Like, because they could have done so much better for themselves. No judgment. It's just like just knowing.
Yeah,
you know what I'm
sure.
saying? Like, and I've learned like balance in life. You know what I mean? Like. I would never shame somebody for indulging in whatever they indulge in, whether it's drinking, smoking, whatever drug of choice, whatever. But learning balance, understanding like moderation, these things, you know what I mean? Like not overindulging and overdosing, and just understand like, all right, if you're gonna do this, make sure you incorporate this in your day, lots of water, lots of exercise, cardio, things like that might help, balance all that you putting in your body out, so. That's where I'm at with it. Like,
and that takes a lot of discipline because, man, here in America, man, we come from a gluttonous, culture, overindulgent, culture. Like, man, you go to other countries, bro, and like you order a meal. I mean, their meal is, a little smaller than our meals. You know what I'm saying? Just things like that. You get a soda, in another country, like they're not giving you a 20-ounce soda, man. Like they soda half the size.
Guilty of it. I'm guilty of it. When I going to a restaurant, you ordering some shit, and they do bring you this small portion, you be like, hell nah. Y'all charge me how much? You better throw like 5 more scoops of rice on this shit. You know what I mean? Like, I'm guilty of it,
Word.
So.
Nah, man. It's all good, though, man. You know what I'm saying? We getting better every day, man.
Every day.
That's what it's all about. Man, Fuse, I didn't ask you, how did you get into your position as vice president of 808 Mafia?
Man, I remember it was just like conversation with Southside, you know what I mean? Just him understanding me, my personality, and what 808 Mafia means to me. See, there's a difference. Like I said, like it's one thing to be part of 808 Mafia and want to brand yourself. Nothing wrong with that. You know, you want people to win and brand themselves and be able to build their own brands and, but it's different when you just like, yo, listen, I have ideas for this company. You know what I mean? Opposed to just my company.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because it's easy to start your own shit, apply all your ideas to your shit. But to have a brother, somebody who gave you opportunity and pour back into him with ideas and opportunity and stuff like that, you know what I mean? I felt like he saw that in me. And then through conversation, it was just like, I remember I was just like, bro, we need a little bit more structure. Not even saying in the sense like we was like not structured, but I was just like, appoint me something where I could just give more input. Cause I felt like I was like I'm on the team, but it's almost like, imagine like, of course we get to watch Lakers and we get to see LeBron get coached, but we also see LeBron coach.
Right.
You feel me?
Right.
So that's what it was for me. Not saying I'm LeBron. I'm just saying like, just that leadership.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm able to get coached, but I'm also able to coach.
Okay.
And I just wanted to, you know, just pretty much, you know, make sure everybody on the team get their just due. Make sure everybody get, like, when I have opportunities, I make sure I call somebody in the crew. You know what I mean? Like, yo, I got this going on. Let's do this. Yo, let's work on this.
Yeah.
It's just making sure everybody on the team is straight. And I just felt like vice president was just like inevitable. And, and not only, not even just that, like Southside is not always obtainable. He's a busy guy, always traveling, always doing things. And sometimes a lot of people, you know, they feel like he's not the friendliest person to walk up on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Not saying he's not, he's very friendly, but some people just look at tattoos and want to judge.
Right.
So they'll come to me.
Right.
Hey Fuse, yo, can we talk? You know, because you know I'm gonna put on the smile. I'm gonna sit there. I'm gonna hear you out. I'm more of the people person. I'm not even a people person. That's the crazy shit.
Yeah.
Like, it just happens that way because I understand business.
Word.
So it's just like, if you're gonna do business, you kind of gotta wear that hat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Nah, for sure.
that's all it really was.
Word.
He just believed in me.
Yeah, nah, that's what's up, man. And teamwork make the dream work.
Always.
So, you know what I mean? That's what's up, man. So I heard that you said something about like you wanted to open like a producer school or.
Yeah. I want to open up a school for producers, like a real college. Like, you know, dorms and all.
Word.
Yeah. Like, this is something I've been like working on for like the past 3 years.
Okay.
I even went to Detroit and was like trying to source a school that I saw out there that was for sale.
Okay.
I never saw a school for sale.
Word.
That's what honestly gave me the inspiration because, you know, I was in Detroit and we was just driving around and it was just like so much property for sale, so much land for sale, houses and everything. We just see this school, huge ass like high school, like just empty.
Yeah.
I never seen that. You know what I mean? I'm not saying they don't exist in the world, multiple
Right.
places. I just never saw it. So I was just like, oh shit. And I was just like, yo, is this for sale? And my boy was like, man, everything for sale. You know what I mean? And I just looked across the street and I see the big ass apartment building, boarded up, dorms. That's for sale?
Yeah.
Everything for sale. I bet, yo, what we gotta do? Put this grant together. Let's do this. I got this person over here down at town hall that you need to speak to. Da, da, da. And I'm just like, that's what I love, like, when people are helping, you know what I mean? Because I was just out there, you know, I'm aspiring, I'm intrigued, but there's people that was like, yo, I can connect these ideas for you. And that's what I appreciate it the most. So I'm still working on that. It doesn't necessarily have to be Detroit. Detroit was just the seed that helped plant that in my brain, but it was just like, that's something I really want to do. Because I just know there's so many producers across the world who don't have access to certain things. And there's nothing like a hub, you know what I mean? Like,
I mean, that's a dope idea. I mean, you just gave me an idea, like maybe we just need to open up like some type of music business school.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Just literally just a school only focused on like, or entertainment business, you know what I mean? Where you can tap into film, music, and the different facets.
Exactly, because I'm gonna tell you what's crazy. Like, so I just remember like growing up, going to school. So I got kicked out of junior high school and I got kicked out of high school.
Wow.
And one of the reasons I got kicked out is because I stopped going to school. And I stopped going to school, not saying school, you know, make sure y'all go to school, whoever watching.
Right.
But I just stopped going to school because I just felt like the teachers wasn't teaching me nothing that I could apply in my life.
Right.
There was nothing that was feeding me because I already knew I wanted what I wanted to do in the sense of like where I wanted to be in life, and what they was teaching me just wasn't applying to that. So imagine being a young child, knowing you want to do music. You know what I mean? Imagine having a high school or a college that you could just go to, or a vacational school that you could just go to and just learn all the things that you need to learn, whether it's how to play instruments, how to create music on certain doors, how to get placements, how to meet and greet, how to do the business. All of this in one building. Like, yeah, math is cool, yeah, science is cool, we need that, but it's just like, if you know what you want to do in life, you're going to need to learn business. You're going to need to learn all these other things in these other categories. And I feel like these are better classes that people will rather get into than frivolous things. You know what I mean? So you could just find your major in the music industry within this school.
Yeah, word. Nah, I can dig it. Give Berkeley School of Music like some competition, man.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because honestly, it's like you have like SAE and like you have like Full Sail and stuff like that. That's for more engineering and more technical side.
More technical
but
side.
Then like to really tap into like that business side and all that, like that would be dope, man. Word.
And it's like, and I also want to show people that it's not just one way to do things.
Right.
Because a lot of people will teach you and you will learn, but you will just branch off of from who taught you.
Right.
So if a person only teaches you ABC, you only know ABC.
Right.
Not saying you won't learn DEF later, but you're pretty much your foundation is ABC.
Right.
Yeah, I want to teach you ABC, DEF, all the way down to Z and backwards, back to A. There's so many ways it could be done. There's no one way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
Word. Nah, that's what's up. And what you working on, or like new things that you got coming up, new projects?
So like earlier I spoke of my boy A-Rap. So me and him have a collaboration project coming out.
Okay.
So it's pretty much done right now. We're just looking for the release date.
Okay.
So right now that's pretty much all my eggs is in that basket. Of course.
What type of project is that gonna be though? Like what?
Everybody asks that every day.
Yo, cause
I feel like if I tell you, it's just giving it away, you know?
Man, you know, because I'm like, okay, is this about to be a production, just a production album, or is this just, you know what I mean? Like, it's definitely.
And that's pretty much what we already know. He's a producer, I'm a producer.
Right.
If we're collaborating on the album, everybody's thoughts is this an instrumental album?
Right.
Is this like an album where they're gonna have artists featured on it? Is like, what kind of, is this a mashup?
Yeah.
Like, what is this? And I just feel like that's the beauty in it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
because you dropped the instrumental tape before, like with Trapaholic.
Yeah, I dropped it wasn't an instrumental tape, but it was a whole tape that had artists on there. So I was like, that was like the thing back then, you know, like no different from like a Khaled album.
Yeah.
You know, find all the artists you fuck with, throw them on your beats, put a project out. So I was doing that, but I was doing that on a mixtape level. Right. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't want to throw it out there. You know, okay. It's just one of them things they just gotta watch, pay attention to, and then connect the dots and see.
Like that,
you know what I mean? Like that's why I want it to be thought provoking.
For sure.
Like when you hear it, you're gonna be like, oh shit, that's what this is. But until then, I just gotta just like spoon feed people like bits and pieces of what it might be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Nah, I can dig it. Now, Fuse, you got any last shout outs or anything you want to give?
Just shout out everybody watching. Shout out my whole family. Shout out New York. Shout out Atlanta. Shout out my label. I have my own record label as well. Art Gallery Music Group. Shout out to everybody that's on Art Gallery. My first artist, East West. Okay. And you know, this is all about turning up for 23. You know what I mean? Having fun. Just putting out more music. New Currency album coming out this year.
Word.
Yeah. So. Usual suspects, still working with the same people, same folk, you know what I mean? Just keeping the boat flowing, keeping the brand live, you know what I mean? And just making sure that the next 10 years you still hear 808 Mafia, like the last 10 years.
Word. And any last piece of advice that you want to give any up and coming producers or anybody that's just trying to like just take it to that next level and what they doing? Like what kind of advice could you give somebody to leave us with?
I want to see everybody win, so I would just say the best way to win is to be far away from distraction. You know what I mean? It's easier said than done, but if you sit back and look at your life and you be like, all right, this is what I want to do, this is where I want to be, then you look at your life and wonder what's keeping you from there or what's hindering you from getting there. Clearly, that's the distraction. And you have to be okay with eliminating that. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't even have to be a full disposal. Sometimes you just gotta put things to the side for a little bit. Like, yo, I'm really kind of locked in on this right now. Yeah. So let me do this. And anybody that truly fuck with you, especially if it's pertaining to a person, that's a distraction. You know what I mean? If they really fuck with you, they'll understand. And they'll be like, yo, I respect that. You know what I mean? I'll be right here. You know what I mean? No love lost. You know what I mean? Or it is what it is. Yeah. You go your way, I go my way. But at the end of the day, distractions, because the only reason I would use that word is because I've seen so many people that was on the same path as me. Not my path, but you know, their path of wherever they were leading to. and distractions, the stories, the what's it called when it's like a letdown? You know what I mean? You heard somebody that's about to be so great. You have so much faith in them, so much belief, and then they just let you down by a circumstance, a bad decision. You know what I mean? It's just like, damn.
You like, that person has so much potential, but man, that one thing.
So many times we hear that. You know what I mean? From whether it's an athlete or somebody trying to do anything in life big, you know, it's just sad that some people just never make it to their full potential. And it's usually because of distractions. You know what I mean? You might not view it as that, but that's all it really is. You know what I mean? Like, there's people I know that lost lives at the club. And I'm not saying the club is a bad thing, but I felt like for those people that I know that lost their life at the club, in that moment, you probably could have been somewhere else. Or you could have been doing something a little bit more productive instead of just kicking it, you know what I mean? Or at least finding a different place to kick it. That's one thing I'm big on, like energy, you know what I mean? Like I told you earlier, and crowds, large crowds, is too much of a mix of different energies, you know what I mean? And when you're a valuable asset, you have to view yourself as that, and you have to understand crowds could be a liability. People could be liabilities. You know what I mean? Places could be liabilities. So as long as you understand that, you have to move like that. So I'm just real big on that. So I just want people to, you know, flourish, win, and just stay away from distractions. Stay focused.
That's what's up. That's real spit.
Yeah.
Bet.